Boom, side flip. It's not a front flip, it's not a back flip. It's super different, super unique. It's definitely a less scary flip to learn how to do. And today's video is gonna break down a super simple progression so that you can land your very first side flip today. All right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another Tricking Tutorial Tuesday. We've got tutorials coming out every single Tuesday, summer 2022. Now, if you haven't seen last week's video, I'll link it right up here. It was the front flip tutorial. This is gonna be a really important tutorial for you guys to learn how to watch because the set for the front flip is very similar to the set that we're gonna use today to learn the side flip. So if you haven't watched it already, pause this video. Go check out the front flip tutorial. Make sure you can do that. Make sure you learn the steps in order to learn how to set. Come back to this video and now you're ready to learn the side flip. All right, so quick disclaimer, this tutorial is designed for people who do not have access to a gym or equipment or mats or a coach or spotters or anything like that. All you need to learn this is you, yourself, and the ground. So like I said, the only prerequisite I recommend having for this flip is to be able to do the front flip. As always, if you find this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss the next week's tutorial, and comment down below what tutorial do you want to see next week. All right, let's get into the progression. So just like the front flip, the side flip has 4 key steps. You have the run up, you have the set / the block, you have the tuck, and then you have the landing. Now I'm not going to get too much into detail about the run up and the set / block because like I said, we covered it in last week's tutorial for the front flip. So again, go check that out if you have any questions, then come back to this video. All right, let's start with the progression. Step number 1, you're going to practice your run up. So just like the front flip, it's not a sprint, it's not a walk. You're just going to do a nice light jog into the set. Now the main thing here is that you're going to travel straight forward, and then at the last second, you're going to take off of 1 foot, swivel 90 degrees to whichever direction you prefer, and land on 2 feet so that you are perpendicular to the direction that you are traveling. Now in order to figure out which way to do the flip, so which way you're going to turn your feet at the end of your run up, I recommend just practicing a simple 360 on the ground, and that will tell you which direction you're a little more comfortable turning to. So personally for me, I like to do my 360s to the left, which means I'm going to side flip over my right side because I'm going to do that 90-degree turn spinning to my left side. So I'm going to run up, jump off of my left foot, 90-degree turn to my left, so that way I'm all set to do the side flip to my right. So easy way to figure this out, just stand up, do a 360 to the left, do a 360 to the right. Whichever one feels more comfortable, that's the side you're going to go to. So whichever way you 360 to is the way you're going to turn, which means you're going to side flip over the opposite side. So for me, I turn to the left, side flip to the right. If you 360 to the right, then you're going to side flip to the left. All right, so once you figure that out, you're going to practice the run up. So again, light jog into it. You're going to take off of 1 foot, turn 90 degrees to your preferred direction, in my case the left, land on 2 feet facing perpendicular to the direction you are going to side flip over. If you're getting confused about this, it might be helpful to just put a target on the ground in front of you so that way you know which way you should be facing in order to do the side flip. All right, so now that you figured out what you're doing with your feet, the second step is we're gonna figure out what to do with our arms. So if you notice, when I do the side flip, I'm doing like this weird circle type of thing with my arms. Looks a little weird, looks like I'm trying to do some water bending or something like that. But basically you need to use your arms for momentum just like you would do in any other flip. So for the front flip from last week, like we talked about, you're gonna have your arms up here and throw forward to propel you into the flip. The thing is, with the side flip, it's a little different because it's over the side. So we're gonna use both arms in 2 different ways. Now this is just the method that I learned to use it. There's a lot of different ways you can do this flip, so make sure you go check out some other tutorials if you don't like this method, but in order for you to follow along this video, this is how I like to do it. Now since I flip over my right side, we're gonna call that my far side, I'm gonna use my right arm, so my far arm, to throw forward. So it's gonna throw down into the flip. That's gonna give me that rotation because I'm throwing into the direction of the flip. My close side, however, my left arm, is gonna do this opposite motion, scooping up and kind of back around to my left side. What that's gonna do is help me get height and generate more momentum going upwards, so that way I don't just shoot straight forward, I can get some height and then I can throw into the flip. So I'm using them together, kind of like this clockwise turning a steering wheel type of motion. Now this might be really confusing for you guys, so feel free to go replay that again, but make sure you practice your arm motion before you send the flip because it does take a lot of practice to get used to. Now again, I would recommend practice the run up, the set with your feet and the arms all in one motion, adding a jump at the end. This way you can get used to doing the entire set without actually throwing the flip. All right, so you learn the set, you learn how to use your arms, you learn how to use your feet. Make sure you know already how to block. Again, I'm not gonna cover it in this video. Make sure you go check out the front flip tutorial if you have questions about angling your legs correctly for the block. Now we're gonna move on to step number 3. So step number 3 is starting to incorporate the flip, but we're not just gonna chuck it unless you're wild like that and then go ahead. We're gonna use a progression of a roll. Now normally we roll forwards or backwards, but this time we're gonna do like a barrel roll kind of over the side. So you're gonna take your setup that you just learned, slow it way down so it's nice and slow and controlled, and then you're just gonna do a nice tuck and roll over that side. Now a couple of things that are really important to keep in mind here. First of all is the way that you grab your legs. You're gonna need to grab your legs in order to condense yourself into a smaller ball so you can rotate in the air faster. I personally like to grab under my knees. It's just personal preference. It depends on what's more comfortable for you. I'd recommend trying out both and seeing how it feels. The second thing is that you want to make sure that you're rolling right over your back. So think about if you were doing a side flip over a barrel, you want the only point of contact to be basically your shoulder blades or your spine, right? Think about if somebody had a pole coming from your head all the way through your spine, coming out your butt. That pole should be pointing towards the camera the entire time, so that way you're just rotating around that axis. Some people get side flips confused with an aerial. Okay, an aerial is the opposite. That pole is just completely inverted and you're doing a cartwheel with no hands. A side flip is you take that pole from straight up like it normally is and you point it 90 degrees forward. So you're just rotating around that axis. All right, so now you understand the basic components of how to do the side flip and what the roll feels like. You should be more comfortable doing the setup into the dive roll. So that's the next step. Step number 4 is we're gonna start adding height to our roll. So think about it more like you're doing a little bit of a dive roll. Now this is gonna be a little uncomfortable, so if you have access to mats or anything softer than ground, I would recommend you use it. We're gonna practice the setup the same way that we have been, still using our arms, still using our legs, just like we learned before. And this time you're just gonna add a little bit of height to your dive roll. So instead of just getting super low, crouching, and then tucking and rolling over the side, you're just gonna do a little bit of a jump into it. So that way you can get practice for actually doing the setup, jumping, and then rotating. Now, like I said, this is probably gonna be really uncomfortable because you're gonna be kind of smacking down onto the ground. There's not a really good way to brace yourself when you're going over the side. So just try the best you can. The point of this is to get used to taking off and jumping a little bit higher. And once you can do this, guys, we've reached step number 5. Step number 5, it is time to commit. Now, the biggest thing you need to think about in order to commit to the side flip is you need to make sure you jump as hard as you can and go up. All right, too many people, myself included, when you first start learning the side flip, you're not gonna go up enough. You're just gonna do a little baby hop and just chuck yourself right into the ground. So you're probably gonna be landing on your side. You're not gonna make it all the way around your feet. Or if you do, you're gonna be extremely low to the ground and your butt is basically gonna be hitting at the same time as your feet. And that's totally okay. You guys are just learning it, right? The main thing is that you wanna make it all the way around to your feet. So like I said, do the run up, turn, make sure you're blocking, jump up in the air as hard as you can. Really throw your arms in the direction that we've learned. Tuck, squeeze your legs in, and then untuck as best you can for the landing. And there you have it. You just sent your first side flip after watching this video. Again, you don't need to learn any other flip before this, but learning the front flip might get you a little bit more over the fear of like doing an actual flip in the air. Now again, if you have any questions about how to angle your legs for the blocking, if you feel like you're not getting enough height, make sure you go re-watch the front flip video because I go over what blocking is and how to use it a little bit more in that tutorial. Chances are if you're not making it around to your feet when you try this move, it's an issue with the blocking or you're not going up enough and you're just shooting too far out. So I recommend if you have access to mats or a trampoline or anything like that, use those as a really good tool in order to get the confidence to send it on the grass. There's a lot of little mistakes that I see people make when they do side flips. This is personally not one of my strongest flips, so I don't have any specific critiques for this, but if you have any questions about this or you want to see another tutorial in the future, make sure you comment down below. Make sure you check out the link in the description if you want to help support the channel and pick yourself up a ninjatic tank top. Again, if you haven't seen any of the tutorials so far and you want to learn some more flips, make sure you check out the playlist. I'll link the backflip tutorial right here if you haven't seen that already and you want to learn. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Peace out.